You are suing Mr.
Jay
Williams for
Bowers blames his best
$1,000
friend
because
failed to pay
he
him
owes
back
that to
for
you for a New Year's
pricey
Eve ticket that
for
he
New
didn't
Year's Eve
end up
celebration. Brad
attending
Williams
for a party.
says
That's
he was
correct.
too
All right, what
upset
happened here?
to attend the event.
Well,
after learning
Brad and I have
Mr.
been friends
Bowers
since
was
high
there
school. We
with
met in high
his
school.
sister.
We
All
played
right,
football
Mr.
together.
Bowers, you are
I
suing
played
Mr.
quarterback. He
Williams
played
for
tight end.
$1,000
We would hang out
because
during
he
school,
owes that
after
to you
school.
for a New Year's Eve ticket that he
We're
didn't
really
end
best
up
friends. We spent all of our time together. We would
for a party.
do everything
That's
outside of
correct.
school
All right,
together. I
what
spent a
happened
lot of time with his family.
Well, Brad and I have been friends since high school. We met in high school.
Things that we would do
played
is
football together.
On New Year's, we would have a big celebration.
I played
It was our
quarterback.
favorite holiday.
He played tight
We'd
end.
go out with our friends.
We would hang out.
We'd go to
during
like a bar
school,
or something.
after school.
Well, this particular year,
really
we
best
wanted
friends.
to
We spent all of our time
do
together.
something
We
bigger.
would
We wanted to
do
go
everything
all out.
outside of school together. I spent a lot of time with his
and
family.
So I suggested that we go to a club and get like a private section.
One of the things that we would do is
on New Year's we would have a big celebration.
favorite
premium
holiday.
drink
We'd go out
service,
with our friends.
service.
We'd go to like a bar,
a private
or something.
table. It'd be great. All of our
well, this
friends.
particular year we wanted to
So how many
do
people
something
were going?
bigger. We wanted to
It
go
was about
all
7
out.
of us.
All right, all of you
and
friends
so
with
I
each other, and
suggested that we
everybody
go
knew
to
who
a
was
club
going.
and get like a
Exactly.
private
And
section,
everybody had to
private
pay how
table.
much?
$1,000
full
each.
bar.
All right, and then what happens?
Premium drink service, bottle service.
paid for his
private table
portion
portion
because
all of our
he
friends
said he couldn't pay right then.
And he was
Okay.
in.
So how many people
so
were
I
going?
paid.
But
about 7
was
of
the
us.
understanding that he was going to pay you back?
Yeah,
Friends with each
absolutely.
other,
Is there
and
any-
everybody knew who was going.
Exactly,
Go on. Is there any
yeah.
dispute about that, or no, you
pay
were
how
supposed
much?
to pay him back?
No, I was supposed to pay
All
him
right,
back.
and then
Okay.
what happened? All right, and
Yeah.
so go on. What happened?
Yeah, so I paid for his portion. He said he would pay me back. Portion because he said
and everything was good.
Right
Everything was all
Okay.
good.
So
There's
I paid.
one thing I didn't
But the
tell
under-
him
was
was
the
that I was
understanding that he was
dating
going to pay you
his sister
back?
at the time.
Yeah,
Is there any, can I just ask you before we go on, is there any dispute about that, or no, you were supposed to
dating
pay
his
him
sister.
back?
No, I was supposed to pay him back.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
this guy's
All
your
right,
best
and
so friend. go on, what happened?
Yeah,
And you
so
are
I
dating
paid
his
for his
sister behind
portion. He
his
said he
back,
would pay
he
me
doesn't
back.
know?
Well, it was a very
and
new
everything was good.
relationship.
Everything was
So
all
we
good.
would just
I'm sorry.
the one thing I didn't
I'm
tell
sorry.
him
I
was
just spent
that I
20
was
minutes
dating
listening
his
to how
sister
he's
at
your
the
best
time.
friend. Wait, what? And you were dating, I don't care how new it is.
Yeah, I was
can't
dating
be
his sister.
that new if you're calling it
I'm
dating.
sorry,
this
like
guy's your best
like
friend.
before you ask around,
Yeah.
And you are dating
if
his
that's
sister
your best
behind his
friend,
back,
it doesn't occur to you that maybe
Well,
you
it
should
was a very
kind
new
of run it.
relationship.
I mean, just
So
let him know.
we had
Let's
just-
not run it by
I'm
him. You don't
sorry.
need his permission.
I'm sorry.
You
You spent
she's a
20
human.
minutes listening to how he's your
Like,
best
just
friend,
kinda
and you were
give him a heads
dating.
up.
I don't
I'm
care
gonna
how
ask
new
your
it
sister
is.
out.
That doesn't occur to you. That
he
new
had
if you're
never,
calling it dating.
like explicitly
before
told me
you
that he
ask
was
around.
against me
You know,
dating
if
his
that's your
sister.
best
Except for you kept it from him
doesn't
for how
occur to you
long?
that maybe you should
It was about 2
kind of
weeks.
run it. Okay,
so
just let him
clearly
know. It's not run
you
it by
did
him.
not
You don't
want
need his
him to
permission.
know.
Yeah.
Why? She's a human.
But like
it
just
wasn't,
kind of give him a heads
official-
up.
we weren't
I'm going to
officially
ask your
dating
sister
yet.
out.
So I didn't.
That doesn't
I didn't
occur to
want
you?
to like say I was
he had
interested in
never,
your sister if it
like,
wasn't going to lead to
explicitly told me
anything
that he was
official.
How many times had you
dating
gone
his
out in those
sister.
2
Except
weeks?
for you kept it from him for how long?
Maybe a handful of times. 2 weeks.
Okay,
10
so
times
clearly,
max.
10
You
times
did
in
not
the 2
want him
weeks,
to
and
know.
it didn't. How
Why?
did he not see that you were dating his sister? He's not
it
that
wasn't,
close to her?
official. We weren't officially dating yet. So I didn't.
we
I
weren't
didn't
keeping
want
it private.
to like
We
say
didn't-
I was interested in your sister if it wasn't going to lead to anything
Now we're getting.
official.
How many times had you gone out in those 2
So
weeks?
not only
maybe a
you,
handful
but
of times,
also his sister didn't
10
want to
times
tell him
max.
10
that
times
the
in
two
the
of
2
you were
weeks, and
dating.
it didn't. How did
Yeah.
he not see
Why?
that
We
you were
thought
dating
it
his
would
sister?
be
He's not that
best.
close to her.
We thought it would be best to.
we were
keep
keeping it private.
private.
We did
We
it
did because we were just getting
Were
to know
you
each other
gonna?
more.
Okay,
Now
what was
we're getting
going on
somewhere.
that New Year's?
So
Was she gonna
not
go?
only
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
but
Did he
also
know
his
she was
sister
gonna go?
didn't
No.
want to tell him.
Why was it
that
so?
the two of you were dating?
Yeah,
Why?
we thought it would be best.
Why? Okay.
We
How
thought
do
it
you
would be
even
best
find
to
out that he's dating your
Keep
sister?
it
The night
private. That
of
we
the
were because we were
event,
just
an
getting
event
to
that I
know
look
each
forward
other
to
more.
every year. It's
What was
one of my
going on
highlights
that
of the
New
year.
Year's?
I was calling
Was
my
she
mother
gonna
to wish
go?
her a happy
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Year.
Did he
Because
know
I didn't
she
want
was
to,
gonna go?
have to have that
Why
do
did?
that
Why was
later
it
in the
so?
night.
No, not when you're having fun. You don't want to call your mom.
No.
Yeah, this is too much.
Obviously not.
Why?
But
Okay.
I was on the
How
phone
do
with
you
her,
even
and she
find
said,
out
"Oh, are
that
you
he's
going to see
dating your
Sam there?"
sister?
I said, "The night of the event."
Why
An
would I
event
see
that I
Sam
look
there?
forward
Sam is
to
your
every
sister.
year.
Sam is
one
my
of my
sister.
highlights of the year.
And she said, "Oh, because
I
she's
was
dating
calling
Jay."
my mother to wish her a
So
happy
I
New
found
Year
Did your mother
because I didn't
not
want to,
know that they were
have
keeping
to
it
have
from
that
you?
do
She did
that
not
later
know.
in the night.
No, not when you're having fun.
And
you don't
after
want
I
to call
found
your
out
mom.
from my mother, I said goodbye to her.
Obviously not.
I called up Jay and I asked
I was
him,
on the phone
"Are
with
you
her,
dating my
and she
sister?
said, "Oh, are you going to see
And if
Sam
so,
there?"
why would you
I
keep
said,
this from me?"
And what what did he say?
Why would I see Sam?
He couldn't
there?
give me a good
answer.
Well, what did he say? What answer did he
She said,
give you?
"Oh, because she's dating Jay." I didn't want you to know before we were ready. Just telling me, selling me something that he thought would make me, less angry because I was upset. My mother, I said goodbye to someone who calls himself my best friend is going to be dating my sister. And if so, why would you keep this from me?
And what did he say? The magic words behind my back.
He couldn't give me a good answer.
Well, what did he say? What answer did he give?
He was like, I didn't want you to know before we were ready. Just, telling me something that he thought would make me, less angry because I was upset. I would want to know if someone who calls himself my best friend is going to be dating my sister.
I'm sorry. Wait a second. How big was the gun he put to your head? I didn't hear the magic words behind my back. I mean, you're being silly about this.
Unjustice. You're the Los Angeles area.
What bothers me is that he didn't tell me.
Is it? Because I didn't think someone who's my best friend would date my sister. So is it that he didn't tell you, or that he's dating your sister at all?
Provided by and later.
It started clicking for
how
me
big was the gun he put to your head? And
I actually got the borrow believe card.
You're being silly
because I started noticing that my credit was improving, and I was like, "Wait, is my credit score going up? I haven't seen my credit score like this in a while."
I didn't think someone who's my best friend would date my sister. So is it that he didn't tell you, or that he's dating your sister at all?
It's a mixture of both, Your Honor. I didn't want to have to bring this up, but Jay is infamous in our friend group for maybe being a bit flaky in his relationships. He's dating around quite frequently.
That's not true.
Is he a philanderer? Is he a cheater?
I wouldn't call him a cheater, but there's a little bit of overlap maybe between relationships.
So is it that he didn't tell you, or that he's dating your sister at all? Talk to me.
It's a mixture of both. I didn't want to have to bring this up, but Jay is infamous in our friend group for maybe being a bit flaky in his relationships. He's dating around quite maybe not the best in relationships. Like I said, there's going to be some overlap. He's going to date one. I wouldn't call him a cheater, but there's a little bit of overlap maybe between relationships.
That's not true.
At the time that they started dating, she was 21.
Don't talk to each other. Talk to me. He's probably not the one anyway. I mean, she's very young.
There is, as we were growing up together, I've seen this pattern in his behavior where he is maybe not the best in relationships. Like I said, there's going to be some overlap. I would just like to hear from ideally him first.
How old's your sister? Why him first?
Was at the time that they started dating, she was 21.
She's your sister. Okay.
I don't want to police my sister too hard.
Apparently you do. So go on. But in any event,
if my sister came to me first, I would love that.
So tell me how it would play out.
I feel like he's got an obligation. He considers himself to be my best friend. He's got an obligation to tell me that he's got, because he's my best friend.
She's your sister.
And my sister would police my sister too hard.
You won't.
Ideally, I would be able to tell him, like, hey, I don't think that's the best idea. I'd like to see someone else dating her. And if my sister came to me first, I would love that. Our friends should be able to. I feel like he's got an obligation. He considers himself to be my best friend. I have to keep tight about it. He's got an obligation to tell me that he's got, I would have liked to have a crush on my sister.
So before deciding not to go to New Year's and stiffing him $1,000 on the ticket, did you ever talk to your sister?
I don't think that's the best idea. I'd like to see someone else dating her. And we could be honest about it as people who are friends should be able to. So she told me that it was his idea to keep tight about it because that's what my sister wants to do. Secret until the New Year's thing, she was going along with it.
So before deciding not to go to New Year's and stiffing him $1,000 on the ticket, did you ever talk to your sister?
It's just 2 weeks, but still, it feels very personal.
Did you call Sam? I understand.
Yes, I did call her.
And when they dated after New Year's, they continued dating.
She told me that it was his idea to
how many months later that you two broke up?
The relationship a secret until the New Year's thing, and she was going along with it because he seemed really bent on hiding it from me for whatever reason.
It was just 2 weeks, though.
It's just 2 weeks, but still, it feels very personal.
So apparently, I understand. Wait, what?
I think he's leaving something out there.
And then they dated. What happened? After New Year's, they continued dating.
He stood her up for her college formal. She invited him to go with her. How many months later
that you two broke up?
He stood her up, did not go, and I think that was the alarm that said he's not the guy.
And do you know why? Did she tell you? Apparently, Sam is fully capable as a 21-year-old.
Just not a right fit.
Not only of picking who she dates and then dumping them when they don't.
I think he's leaving something out there.
When they're not a right fit. But also voting for president and drinking a beer. She can do all these things.
He stood her up, did not go, and I think that was the alarm that said he's not the guy.
We have to respect Sam and her choices. Why don't you just respect Sam and her choices that night and go as a 21-year-old?
Because I felt like I would have been
and then dumping them when they don't
the relationship by going, and I didn't approve. Not that she needs my approval.
But voting for president and drinking a beer. She can do all these things because she's a grown-up. So we're dancing around this. We have to respect Sam and her choices. Why don't you just respect Sam and her choices that night and go to the party? If my brother's best friend was going to ask
because
me out, he would have asked my brother's permission.
Not that my brother's best friend ever asked me out. By going, and I didn't approve. Not that she needs my brother's permission.
Sounds like see that's the thing. We're which I'm not. I'm not my brother's property. Dancing around that would be silly, and it was silly then, from an era, and it would be silly now. Where if my brother's best friend was going to ask something out, he would have asked my brother's permission. Is that your best friend? Not that my brother's best friend ever asked me out. You can, and I'm sure you would have asked my brother's permission. Like I'm a piece of snake or whatever you wanted to say, which I'm not. And then she continued to date him. So nothing he would have said would have made a difference. It was silly. She was going to date him, and it would be silly now. Her. And then he disappointed because people change too. Are you the same person you were when you were 15?
Your best friend kept it from you.
Okay, so you can. People I'm sure you told her why are you dating him? They're two adults who make a decision to date or whatever you wanted to say, right? And then she continued to date him. So nothing you would have said would have made a difference. To be your she was going to date him until he decided to ruin everybody's night. Are you the same person you were when you were 15? You are a grown man and you can make that decision. So the question is, how is it that you don't make a decision to date and that you chose not to use?
The problem because if I had known that he was dating my sister, I wouldn't have agreed to go. I feel that he lied to me knowingly to get me to go to the party so that he could trick me into
you should know that he was going to be really angry to go whether he's angry at the party or not.
He texted me about 2 weeks before Christmas.
So he wasn't even dating your sister 2 weeks before Christmas. He started dating your sister 2 weeks before New Year's. The question is, how is it that you don't think you have to pay for the ticket? Maybe he lied to you by not bringing up the fact that would change your mind. But at that point, you were already indebted for the $1,000.
I feel that he lied to me knowingly to get me to go to the party so that he could trick me into this whole deal.
I want to spend the night with them. I don't want to spend the night with them. I'm really angry at them.
He texted me about 2 weeks before Christmas.
The question is, he wasn't even dating your sister 2 weeks before Christmas. He started dating your sister 2 weeks before New Year's. End up eating the ticket just because he's a garbage friend in your eyes. Maybe he lied to you by not bringing up the fact that would change your mind, but at that point you were already indebted for the $1,000. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because apparently you're no longer a grown man and you can make any decision you want to make. Not the $1,000. I want to spend the night with them. I don't want to spend the night with them. I'm really angry at them. $1,000 verdict for the plaintiff. That's fine. The question is, who's that going to cost?
Judge Millian.
And if you have already committed yourself to paying for the ticket, he doesn't have to end up eating the ticket just because he's a garbage friend in your eyes. What happens is consequence for being a bad friend.
You literally just didn't want me to send the date.
Is that you are no longer his friend?
You just wanted to break us up.
Right? Because apparently you're no longer his friend.
Weeks into
That's the consequence, not the $1,000. You owe the man the $1,000 and you have to pay him $1,000 verdict for the plaintiff.
Coming up.
All right. A little bit after we moved,
Judge Millian
we both were in New Orleans, and he sent me a text message that he got a job in
You literally just didn't want me to send the date.
Did you know he was applying for a job?
You just wanted to break us up.
No, I did not.
You know me. You owe me
$1,000. Weeks into that.
Yeah, well, now you got to
pay me.
You're going to pay me.
Badger Day in court. Exit this way,
Guilt has the
please.
designers that get your heart racing. Add insider prices.
A little
new
bit after
every day.
we moved,
Hurry, they'll be gone in a flash. Designer sales are up to 70% off. Shopguilt.com today.
He sent me a text
You're
message
watching Justice for
that
the
he
People.
got a job in Buffalo.
At WGX,
Did you know he was applying for a job in Buffalo?
No, I did not. He never mentioned anything.
Here in Lawrence County. So the weather
Closed
that affects
caption for the
paid
people
to you
with Judge
in
Millian.
moving costs
Kayla
because
Holmes claims that 2 months after she moved across the country to be with her boyfriend, he moved again
Yes, Your Honor.
without
All right,
consulting
you folks
her.
dated for how
Jake
long?
Leota says
We
he
dated
loved
for
the plaintiff,
a little
but
over
things
2
just
years.
didn't work
Okay.
out.
Originally, we met.
You are
and
suing
really
Mr.
fell
Leota
in
for
love, is what I thought.
$4,750. And then there was a move that you want repaid to you. Tell me about that. In moving costs because
he text messaged me a little bit after we moved. We both were in New Orleans.
Yes, and all right. You folks dated for how long?
Sent me a text message for that he got a job in Buffalo.
Okay.
Originally,
did you know he was applying for a job in Buffalo?
No, I did not. He never mentioned anything.
I thought.
So,
and then there was a move. Things with me.
And did he ask you to join him, or was he leaving you?
I mean, he text messaged me that there was a little bit after we moved.
Did he ask you to join him? Yes or no?
We both were in New Orleans.
Yes.
And he said it would be a great idea.
Okay.
Sent me a text message.
So you decide you're going to move, and what
that
happened?
he got a job in Buffalo. Everything changed.
Did you know he was applying for a job in Buffalo?
No, I did not. He never mentioned anything. I had a job in Buffalo. It would be nice if he would discuss things with me.
And did he ask you to join him, or was he leaving you about this? You realize when you're saying it, don't you, that you uprooted your own life. Nobody asked you to join him, yes or no?
Coming up.
Almost 2 months after we had said it would be a great idea.
Okay.
And
so you decide you're going to move, and what happened?
He's moving back to New Orleans. Everything changed. It's not what he said. I literally uprooted my entire life. My job. I have a job in
It takes special dedication to care for our elderly. You know,
especially when they need it most.
You realize when you're saying it, don't you, that you uprooted your own life. Nobody uprooted your life.
And give families that special peace of mind,
after we had
knowing
moved
that their loved ones have the best care possible.
Great news, he's moving back to New Orleans.
So if you care about caring,
Closed
come on and
captioning
join our
provided
team.
by This is Justice for the People with
Great
Judge
news,
Millian.
he's moving back to New
We're
Orleans.
back.
He is
with the
moving
case
back
of
to New
Kayla
Orleans.
Holmes.
We just signed a
Wait,
lease.
Does he
I
say
had
we're moving
documentation.
back to New Orleans, or he say I'm moving back to New Orleans?
He said he's got lacking a job and he wants to move back to New Orleans. But we literally just moved there and signed a lease.
Because what happened when you got to Buffalo?
This is the second time. So he text messaged me.
This fellow makes an enormous life decision
over 2 months, almost 2 months
and tells you
after we
text after the decision's made.
And says,
how do you arrive at the $4,750?
To New Orleans. I had
he is moving back to New Orleans.
We just signed a moving
does he say we're moving back to New Orleans, or he say I'm moving back to New Orleans?
$3,500 job and he wants to move back to New Orleans. But we literally just moved there and signed a lease. That is how much it costs to move.
And you think he should pay for your life decision? Let's hear from you. And tells you through text after the decision's made. What the hell you're thinking? How do you arrive at the $4,750 in a committed relationship that you make a decision to live elsewhere without even having discussed it with the person? What do you think?
Which costs $3,500. Distance charge.
As we made a committed
total and
relationship together, we built a life.
That is how much it costs to move.
Okay. And you think he should wherever you feel like going?
Yes.
Without even consulting.
I genuinely
Because even in the 50s that didn't happen. Like people would talk about it, you know? I don't understand why you would think in a committed relationship that you make a decision to live elsewhere without even having discussed it with the person.
So she wants you to pay her back all this money.
I was under the impression that as we made a committed relationship together, we built a life, gun to her head, that everything she said about how we met is true.
Without even consulting. Because even in the 50s that didn't happen. Like people would talk about it, you know? I don't understand why you would think that not once but twice that you just make the decision and she's a little puppy dog who has to follow. So she wants you to pay her back all this money. What's your defense?
COPD hasn't been pretty.
As you stated earlier, I didn't
it's tough to
hold
breathe.
a gun to her head.
And tough to keep
Everything
wondering
she said about how we met is true. We were in love. We made a decision to be together.
But Trelegy has shown me that there's still beauty and breath to be had.
Justice for the people return.
Because with 3 medicines and 1 inhaler, Trelegy keeps my airway.
Report throughout the entire land that we have here. For anyone who breaks up with anyone to say, I want all the money I invested in the relationship back because he turned out not to be what I wanted in life. Do you think that that's what we're here for? Throughout the entire land, disputes and legal obligations. Who breaks up with anyone to say, I want all the money I invested in the relationship back that's the kind of boyfriend he was. He turned out not to be what I wanted in life. Do you think that that's what we're here for? For legitimate disputes and legal obligations. He had no legal obligation to be a good boyfriend. To a return you had a lot of warning that that's the kind of boyfriend he was. If it turns out you broke up, you are forgave him for making that plan without you, and then you're shocked women who have been disappointed in this life by a man. It doesn't mean he has to pay you back on your money that you invested. If it turns out you broke up, you are in no different position than all of the other women who have been disappointed in this life by a man. It doesn't mean he has to pay you back all the money that you invested when you were hoping not to be disappointed. Verdict for the defense.
You're so selfish. You think of no one but yourself. I wish I never met you.
Judge Amelia has ruled in favor of the family. It's place.
Exit this way, please. Make sure you grab.
Stella Mills claims she asked a friend to be the MC at her living funeral, but he turned the memorial into a roast. Anton Dominguez says the plaintiff's guests were clearly bored, so he tried to liven it up.
Miss Mills, you are suing Mr. Dominguez for $3,550 that you spent on a living funeral because, according to you, he ruined it.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is a living funeral?
A living funeral is a funeral that's done while the person is still alive.
In order to, for what? For you
it's to celebrate life with your friends and your family and all loved ones.
But everybody pretends you're dead during it?
Yes.
So you conduct it as though it were a real funeral?
Yes.
So this thing cost you $3,550?
Yes, it did.
And you had how many people attending?
60.
How many?
60.
60?
Yes.
Okay. I presume you did the program and figured out what you wanted and who you wanted speaking?
I did everything. I rented a casket.
You rented a casket?
Yes.
Is that normally done in a living?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I rented a casket. I paid for all the flowers. I had slideshow. I had the whole thing and an MC.
And who was your MC? Mr. Dominguez.
Mr. Dominguez.
How did you end up picking Mr. Dominguez to be your MC?
Mr. Dominguez and I have known each other for 10 years.
Okay.
We're very good friends. We work together.
So why did you pick him?
because he has a really good soul and a good heart. And I heard him speak at his father's funeral.
Okay.
And it was very, very deep.
So you thought he was a good public speaker?
Absolutely.
And so you pick him to do that, and then what? Do you give him a script, or do you let him go with it?
I sent him a text with who I wanted him to talk about.
Okay. But you didn't, like, write chapter, line, and verse on it, right?
No,
because you wanted him to use his talents.
I wanted him to use his talents and to take it seriously.
I mean, I'm assuming he has talents, right? Because you picked him.
Yes, he does, and he did.
Not, Your Honor.
Well, that remains to be seen. I'll let you know. Hold on a second.
Thank you.
All right, so what happened? What went wrong that you ended up suing him?
It started off where I wanted him to say specific things about specific people. To be serious.
Such as?
One of my friends, Michelle, I wanted him to say, for my benefit, for me, that I loved the way that she curled my hair and the great chats and girl gossip that we had over the years.
Okay.
That's for one.
Okay, well, what did he say instead?
He turned it into, she was as dumb as a doornail and dull as could be, and it turned into making jokes.
Wait, he said, wait, hold on one second. I'll be with you in a second. You can't talk over her. What did he say instead of, I love how you curl my hair? What did he say?
He said it was ridiculous. She was stupid and dumb.
Who was stupid?
Oh, Michelle, my friend that I was
Michelle was stupid and dumb?
Yes.
And loose. I said loose.
Did you really?
Yes.
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 Do you know Michelle? Hold on.
I know she's friends of ours, Your Honor.
Okay.
Everybody knows she's very loose. She brags about it on social media.
Okay. So you made some jokes about Michelle. Was Michelle offended?
No, Michelle loved it.
She laughed?
She laughed and she...
Okay, did you say the thing she asked you to say, which is, I like how she curled my hair?
I did say that.
And then what else did you say?
That she's a little loose, and everybody laughed, everybody enjoyed it, and it was just a fun time because we saw a 20-minute video, no offense, or a slideshow, Your Honor. Brutal, let's be honest.
It was
okay, hold on. Why do you say it was brutal?
Because it took her, it was like 40 pictures before she got to age 1. Everyone...
It's my life.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Then, yes, Your Honor. And then people were sitting there looking at their watches, and she was like, she's alive. And
I know, but you knew that before you took on this job. I mean, I get the impression that you think this is sort of self-aggrandizing and silly.
Thank you.
Okay. But I didn't say that I thought that. I said I get the impression that you think that. Perhaps I might think that too, but, you know, we're all free people, and we can, if she wants to spend her money that way and people want to attend and you are asked to speak, aren't you supposed to be going with the flow of this thing, however silly you may think it is?
Yes, Your Honor.
So
hold on a second, Miss Mills, hold on. I'm talking to Mr. Dominguez now. Go.
So after the video, then I read what she said, and to punch it up a bit, because the truth is a lot of people were hoping they were at a real funeral, I can tell you that.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I opened the casket, I said, and there's, oh no, Stella's not there, because she's sitting in the first row.
Okay.
And then she got offended.
And the house came down?
More or less.
And later.
All right, so now you have some news, and it's news you want to keep private.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing you do is tell her.
Yes. No.
Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Stella Mills, who blames Anton Dominguez for making a mockery of her living funeral.
I saw people look at their watches, and so I said, you know, Michelle, she curled her hair, and Michelle's sitting there, and then I said, Michelle, we all know how loose Michelle is. Got a few chuckles, not a big, didn't really, land the way I expected it to, but that's okay. People laughed, and then we mentioned her friend, what's the other, Steven. Steven is the one you hooked up with that night. She kept saying the night before, she brags about Steven's coffee, how great the coffee, she's having coffee at 5 a.m., they're in their pajamas or whatever. That wasn't that funny. But the third one was a casket.
Where's the funny one? Go ahead.
I don't know. I opened the casket. I said, and there's, oh no, Stella's not there because she's sitting in the first row.
Okay.
And then she got offended.
And the house came down?
More or less.
That's when people chuckle.
Yeah.
All right. Now, were you looking at her face to see how she was reacting to this stuff?
I did not until when she got up and she
took the microphone out of your hands?
Pretty much. much.
Is that how it worked?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you almost done or not really?
We were having fun. We were getting ready to have cake and so forth. She got up and she upset and she stormed off.
What happens in a living funeral, like once the funeral part is over and the talking is over, then what? Because you're literally sitting there. You're not watching it on a video.
No.
You're enjoying it. So people know what was happening afterwards.
Had it been done properly and to the tone that it was supposed to be done in, not a roast, because he roasted me.
Well, how long have you known him?
10 years.
Okay, I've known him 10 minutes, and I know what he was going to do when he got up there. And that must be why you asked him to do it, to punch it up a little. Why would you think that he was going to sit there and pretend he was crying about your death? Because you're very much alive.
Because when I saw him do his father's...
Yeah, but his dad was dead. By the way, sorry for your loss. Sure. But I mean, his dad was actually dead.
Yes.
So it... you know.
Well, can I give you a little backstory?
How much more backstory do I need for this one?
Just to the reason why this happened.
Yeah?
Because I was in a very severe car accident a few years ago where I was hit by a drunk driver.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I realized at that time that life is short. Okay, life is short.
I know, and you know, I might have handled it differently. I might have thrown a huge party for myself.
Yes.
I might not have thrown a funeral.
Yes.
I might have thrown a party. We all have a different reaction to that. You are entitled to have whatever reaction you want, and if you wanted a living funeral, God bless you.
Yes.
What I guess I'm asking you is, if it didn't go exactly as you had planned, how does that then translate into a legal obligation on his part to pay for your living funeral?
Because he ruined it.
By what? By making a few jokes?
Jokes and roasting.
Did you ever tell him, listen, you have to play this totally straight? Well, you, who I've known for 10 years and I know are a joker.
Well, when I wrote him and texted him, I asked him to do this.
Can I see your text? Do you have your text with you?
Yes,
Let me see him.
And
were you playing it by ear, Mr. Dominguez, in terms of reading the crowd?
I would say so. I already had an idea to try to make it a celebration of your pretend death, because she's very much alive and she's wearing black, by the way. But that's which is doesn't.
I did not even notice that. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
When she asked you, your actual response was, "I've got to say, it does sound a bit ridiculous, but I would be honored." So you agreed to do it.
Yes.
Then she said, "I can't believe you ruined my funeral. You shouldn't have made it into a joke. Now I'm the laughingstock of our friend group. You think that a joke he makes is what would make you the laughingstock of your friend group?"
Yes.
Like what? Because he said what? Oh, she's not in there? That's something everybody knows. What?
He made fun of the slideshow all the way through it.
How did he make fun of the slideshow?
Every photo that came up, he would say, well, here we go. Here's another one of a baby. Here's another one where she's sitting here talking. Here's another one where she's laying on the beach. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Life is short, Your Honor, but that video, we went on and on.
And then...
But, I mean, you're asked to do it. You're asked to be the MC. You should be playing along with whatever it is. And if you're not comfortable doing it, maybe don't do it. You know, but, you know, your theory, Ms. Mills, that somehow he has to pay for your living funeral is not based in any concept under the law. You asked somebody to be an MC, and to some extent, you got what you paid for, which was you weren't paid, right?
No, ma'am.
Right. You got what you paid for. You got what you expected. You asked somebody who you know is a joker and whatever else and is an entertaining speaker to be the speaker because you thought it would go the way you had it in your head. But maybe that's on you and not on him if he ends up bending a little. And, you know, I agree it doesn't sound like he was taking it as seriously as you would like to take it. I think you knew that because his answer to your text was, that sounds a bit ridiculous, but I would be honored. Sounds to me like you kind of took the risk that he would be himself because you know him, you've known him for 10 years. So, but even if he was out of control, which let's just go with your theory that whatever he said was inappropriate, shouldn't have said it and whatever else. How does that translate into a legal obligation to pay for your event just because you're disappointed? It doesn't. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
I can't believe what kind of person
Stella,
you are.
You have a great sense of humor. I can't believe you took it so serious. Our friendship will continue, I'm hoping.
Well, no, as far as I'm concerned, we're done.
Coming up.
A group of people I did not want to know my private affairs.
Okay, now this isn't the first time that she tells you, you know, stop with the telling people my private stuff.
Closed captioning provided by The People with Judge Milian. Caroline Fields claims she suffered emotional harm after her friend sent an unwelcome pregnancy gift to her workplace. Mallory Stevens says the plaintiff had wanted a baby for years, so she wanted to celebrate the news.
Ms. Fields, you are suing Ms. Stevens for $4,580 because she revealed your pregnancy without permission. Tell me what happened.
She sent me a gift to my workplace, indirectly announcing my public affairs to the entire workplace about my pregnancy.
Okay, so tell me, let's backtrack. How are you two friends?
Okay, so we actually met in college. Our husbands, before they were our husbands, they were friends. Actually, she was so close to us, we invited them to our engagement party. During our engagement party, she posted pictures on social media before I even got a chance to publicly announce it myself.
That you had been engaged?
Yes. I even asked her to remove those photos, and she said I was being dramatic. That's not
Did she remove them?
She did not, ma'am.
Okay. How did that affect your relationship with her when she refused to take down your engagement pictures?
I kind of forgave her, you know.
Okay. Because she wasn't asking for forgiveness, right?
She wasn't, but I cared about her.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So now you have some news, and it's news you want to keep private.
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing you do is tell her.
Yes. No. That's not true.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Okay,
but go ahead.
Sorry. So actually, my husband and I invited close family and friends to announce our pregnancy, and the very next day I got a gift at my work, a balloon.
But did you tell those people you can't tell anybody?
I did not tell them that they couldn't.
But you had a party to announce it.
Coming up.
She never revisited that subject, so I kind of thought it was fine.
Okay. So it turns out that it wasn't fine that you announced it to her work, because she was upset at you after that.
Closed captioning provided. Michelle Obi claims the parent of one of her students falsely accused her of shoplifting, so she was forced to change schools. Curtis Alcott says he saw Ms. Obi steal a blouse, so he rightfully conducted a citizen's arrest.
Ms. Obi, you are suing Mr. Alcott for $5,000 for false arrest and ruining your reputation. What happened?
Mr. Alcott here accused me of stealing a blouse from the mall, which he doesn't even know for sure happened or not. And now, because of that, my teaching career has been ruined.
Well, tell me about it. Give me the details.
I was shopping one afternoon in a store in a local mall in our community.
And you have been teaching at a local school for how long?
For about 6 years. I teach middle school English, 8th grade.
Was he a parent at the school?
Yes, actually, Mr. Alcott is the parent of one of my former students.
Had you ever had a confrontation with Mr. Alcott before this, or?
I mean, not a confrontation per se, but I could tell that he had something against me. He kind of always looked at me weird whenever we were at school or any interactions during activities. He always kind of treated me differently than the other teachers.
Okay. All right, so you're at the store, and what happens?
I actually had my AirPods in at the time. I'm shopping, and I throw a blouse over my tote bag just so I can have my hands free while I'm looking through the rack. Mr. Alcott runs up on me, and he's saying something which I can't really hear at the time because my AirPods are in, so I'm scrambling to take them out and figure out what's going on. While that's happening, he's kind of like pushing me towards the front of the store near the cashier.
How is he pushing you?
He's just grabbed my arm.
He grabbed your arm?
Yes, he grabbed my arm, but I didn't even really think anything of it because I recognized him as a parent, so he's ushering me to the front of the store.
And what is he saying? Now that you've taken the AirPods out, what is he saying?
In that moment, I was so flustered, I wasn't really even able to process it. But once we get up there, I see the police are coming over right away. He's telling the cashier that I stole the blouse. He grabs the blouse from the top of my purse and slams it down on the counter. And the police start handcuffing me. And I'm so embarrassed because there's people in the store seeing this happen. People are walking by. It's a small community, Your Honor. So I'm a teacher there, and it's a very well-known school, so it's embarrassing.
Did the police arrest you?
They handcuffed me, and they escorted me out of the mall. Mr. Alcott was with us. He walked with us to the parking lot.
And then in the parking lot, what happened?
In the parking lot, they actually ended up releasing me because I had a chance to explain what happened and tell them that I wasn't stealing. I actually hadn't even tried to leave the store. I had the blouse draped over my bag, and he just ran up to me and accused me of stealing.
Right. I guess my question is, why'd you go with him? Like, why did you Like somebody grabs my arm and I start screaming.
In that moment, Your Honor, I don't know. I think I just couldn't process what was happening. I was just kind of thrown off by the whole thing. So I just went with him to the front. I honestly, in the back of my mind, was thinking that he wanted to talk to me about something that happened at school. Because
well, not if he's grabbing your arm and ushering you to the front of the store.
I mean, that's
right?
true.
And then at that point, you know that he's accusing you of stealing.
Yes.
And would the police ask you any questions before putting handcuffs on you?
Not really. They just kind of took his word for it.
Did they speak to the store?
I mean, they were talking to the cashier, but at that point, I was already handcuffed.
What, the cashier, I guess, had nothing to say.
She also looked equally confused. Right. So I was asking the police if I could get a better understanding of what was happening.
What ends up happening at the school after this?
So all of the students were talking about it. There was a meme going around that his daughter had created. So all of the students are kind of like being disrespectful and teasing me.
What did the meme say?
The meme says something to the effect of, this is the teacher that will teach you how to steal or something. Just very like, just humiliating. So it basically made me lose the trust of like the parents, the students, all of the teachers.
What about the school though? The school did you sit down and talk to the school? Did you tell them your side? In the end, the store didn't press charges, right?
No.
I mean, that must be why the police said, okay, go home, because, you know, the store made clear they weren't pressing charges. So did you sit down with the school and say, hey, the store didn't press charges, there's no evidence of this, and I want some support from you guys? Did you speak up to them, or you didn't get a chance, or they weren't receptive? What was the deal with the school?
The school wasn't really receptive because he's very active in the community, active in the school. So I think they just took his side and they just believed him, which I think is very unfair because I had been a teacher there for 6 years. But it's like they weren't even really willing to hear me out.
Were there any other problems there while you were there?
There were a few incidents where things came up missing and he just assumed that I was responsible.
What's going on here?
Well, Your Honor, it was over the course of several months while Miss Obie was still a teacher at our school that incidents just kept happening repeatedly that were in her presence, whether it was in her classroom, kids that would go to school with certain items from home, they'd come up missing. We did candy drives at school a few times, and not only myself, I submitted $400 in with my daughter Emma, and then suddenly when the accounting came around, they only had $300, and I was not the only parent that had a kid short of candy drive money.
Did you ever bring it up to the school?
No, we just talked about it amongst the parents and PTA.
Why are you all bringing, and the PTA didn't bring it up to the school?
Your Honor,
not
can
to
I
my
wait a
knowledge.
second,
hold on.
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. In hindsight, I wish we would have escalated and went right to the principal or superintendent or someone, and we should have made our suspicions known.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
I took the blouse from out of her tote bag and put it on the counter because I was showing the employees there.
Well, how about you just keep your mouth shut and say, look at what's in her bag, instead of you taking it out?
Give you Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obie, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
So what happens this day at the mall?
I was there shopping to get an item for my daughter and happened to notice her across the way at the store, and as I happened to glance, I witnessed her take the blouse from off the hanger and not just drape it over her arm as if she was continuing to shop the way she claims, but stuff it down into her tote bag.
All right, and what did you do when you saw that?
Wanting to do good and take care of my store owners that I know that own that store that are in my neighborhood, I walked right over to her. I did not grab her forcefully by the arm, but I guided her by the elbow and directed her to say, hey, we got to come up to the front of the store, Miss Obie. And
because you actually said, citizens arrest, right? Like we said that.
I didn't actually say that out loud. No, I did not.
But you had learned about the concept of citizens arrest how?
I did. So I'm actually a court-appointed advocate for foster youth. And in one of our classes for the CASA for the foster care, we did learn about the ability to make citizens arrest. In regards to caring for these kids that are in the foster system that need adults to be looking out for them at all times, and they're falling through the cracks. So
were you enthusiastic about using the concept you read about?
I was hoping that I might never have to use it, but knowing that it's out there, made me do feel empowered that, yeah, I do want to.
Did you actually say the word citizens arrest?
No, I don't believe. Well,
did he actually say the word citizens arrest?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, okay. So in any event, you guide her to the front and what?
And then I took the blouse from out of her tote bag and put it on the counter because I was showing the employees there.
Well, how about you just keep your mouth shut and say, look at what's in her bag, instead of you taking it out? So you took it out, and then what happened?
Then I showed it to the employees that were at the counter, and pretty much as that was happening is when the cops also arrived. So it was
How
a
did the cops even know to arrive? They just happened to be in the area?
No, I called them first because we were instructed in our citizens arrest in the class for the CASA that we should not just be vigilantes handling stuff out there on our own, but call the police.
So you called them, and you're not supposed to be vigilantes. Why don't you just call them and then talk to them? You called the police, and then you didn't give them a chance to do their jobs. You did it, right? You pulled it out of her purse, and then where did that case go? It went nowhere, right? So I'm assuming for a moment that you saw exactly what you say you saw, you know, and then, you know, it all went up in smoke. Did the school fire her, or did she quit because she didn't appreciate the pressure? How did that work?
She left on her own terms because she did not enjoy the fact that parents and students were making memes or comments.
Was your daughter?
Judgments.
How old's your daughter?
She's 13, Your Honor.
And she made a meme about a teacher? Listen, she's still a teacher, and there's still a modicum of respect that you should be insisting your child show, which includes not creating a meme. So what ends up happening? The school doesn't terminate you. You just decide I can't work here anymore, and you move to a different school district?
I moved to a different school district because I had lost the respect of everyone in the school, teachers and students included. So I had to go. I didn't have a choice. Right. And it was not by my own choice. I had to go.
No, the question is, did they fire you or did you quit?
No one forced you.
Yeah, that's really what I was driving at. You are demanding $5,000 from him because you think he deliberately lied about what he felt he saw. So what would be the reason he would do that?
Viewers asked, and now Judge Milian has the answer.
My neighbor and I don't get along. He knows that I breed dogs in a kennel on the west end of my property, and he deliberately goes onto his property line close to mine and fires his gun at a target.
Sweet.
It happens during the day, and a couple of my dogs have miscarried when they were breeding, and I think it's because of the gun. What can I do?
Look, you each have the right to your own property and to use it within the bounds of the law in a way that
if the laws there allow you to use your
have target practice in your backyard,
or fire a weapon, maybe it's a pellet gun or something, but they could be loud and it could be really scaring.
Yeah, I mean, still every town has their noise violation laws, but
and nuisance laws.
But it sounds to me like unless that is illegal conduct on their part, that you're going to need to move the kennel to the other side of your house.
Right. Try to find a way. You know, the other thing is, well, what else could you do? I don't know. Put right up against the fence on his side of the yard. Start raising bees. Right. Just put beehives all the way down.
Why is your answer to everything bees?
Because you got to fight fire with fire. You got to zing them back. Right? Come on. You got to get. He's going to get religion once he gets stung a few times.
I think maybe you just move the kennel to the other side.
I suppose. And you could bring like a nuisance suit potentially, right?
Well, it just depends. It depends if he's using his property in a way that is permitted by
consistent with laws.
Yeah,
and zoning
I don't think you're going to have any luck if he's doing something that's against the zoning laws or criminal laws. Then you will have luck. So you're going to have to, you know, your first step is to call building and zoning in the county and the city and any regulators that would, you know, the police. Although don't stop there because they don't always know what's permitted and not permitted from a zoning perspective.
Yeah, they might try to brush you off. Too.
Right. Yeah. So you know, you should really be calling the city and filing your complaint and then just taking it from there.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that because you don't get along, you can't just say, "Hey, can you stop it?" And could you shoot over there because yours doesn't involve
brownies for them or something, that sort of
thing.
Coming up.
Miss Obi is a good teacher. I want her to get better and not be a kleptomaniac anymore. I think she can still be
don't call her a kleptomaniac. You have absolutely no evidence that she's a kleptomaniac.
Closed cap justice for the people with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obi, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
Is there something else going on?
Your Honor, I honestly think he's had it out for me since I started working at the school.
Why though?
I don't want to say that this is the case. I'm hoping that's not it, but I was the only teacher of my race working at the school. And his group of friends are all of his same race.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with all of the parents.
What about the racial makeup of the actual school?
60% are Caucasian and the others mixed.
Okay. All right. And they only have, how small is the school that they only have one teacher of color?
The school is only about 500 students.
Oh, okay. Is there ever anything overt that anyone ever said that made you feel that way?
Well, beside the snide remarks from the parents and just the treatment in general, I would say there was only one other incident that happened at the school where I felt like, okay, this might be a racially motivated situation. After the candy drive incident that he's referring to, one of the parents actually approached me and made a comment to the effect of, aren't they paying you enough? Why do you need to steal from students? Your Honor, I am a teacher.
But even that is not a, I mean, it might have been racially motivated, but that's not evidence of racial motivation.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, that's still like, so there are a group of parents that really think that you are taking candy money from a baby. If a parent says, I sent 400, here's the form, it sent 400, and 300 turns up, where did that other 100 go? Or were you ever able to say, wait a second, your form says 300, you're wrong. Like, what happened with all that?
Coming up.
I should give you a chance to defend yourself. She suggested that this might be racially motivated. Is
Which,
it?
Yeah. There's nothing more insulting that someone could say to me on the face of this earth.
Closed Cast for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Michelle Obi, who blames Curtis Alcott for her ruined reputation.
With that situation, I tried talking to Emma because I suspected that Emma took the money. She's a kid, you know? These things happen with middle schoolers.
So wait,
they're
so
young.
Emma comes up and so it is short $100.
It is.
Oh, I got it.
According to them. But on the form, I saw 300 written, and 300 is what was given.
Okay, wait, so that's a difference, and then that's not Emma took it, that's nobody took it, and the parent is wrong. So which of those is it? That's what I'm trying to get at.
The parent is wrong in this situation because what Emma gave me and what was on the form said 300. So he's telling me that it was 400 that he sent her to school with, but I can't confirm that because what I saw was 300.
Well, did you show him the form and show him that it only said 300?
At that point, I had already submitted the form to the committee that does it.
Yeah, but the school has a form, and then there's a reason to pull it back. If he's complaining to you and saying something to you, then defend yourself and show him you're wrong. This is what the form says. What's the problem we're having here? Is there something else going on? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. That's true.
Right. You got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea what actually happened.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have. When you come into court, as the plaintiff, you have the burden of proof, and that means you have to prove to me, not beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt like a criminal case, but by a preponderance of evidence, what he says happened didn't happen. I am not saying that what he says happened. I have no idea. So I hear your testimony, and I hear his testimony. You know, I should give you a chance to defend yourself. She suggested that this might be racially motivated. Is it?
Which, yeah. And there's nothing more insulting that someone could say to me on the face of this earth, because as I'm involved with the foster care system, I help kids of every single color find homes. Just like me, I was a product of the foster care system. Okay. I was adopted. I got lucky. That's how much I care about our school and every single student in there, no matter what color they are.
Judge Milian's verdict when justice for the people returns. Promotional with Judge Milian.
Miss Obi is a good teacher. I want her to get better and not be a kleptomaniac anymore. I think she can still be
don't call her a kleptomaniac. You have absolutely no evidence that she's a kleptomaniac. The best you've got is that you saw her steal once. Everything else that you guys have, nobody bothered to dig in to figure out. That the rest of it's all innuendo.
I mean, I don't have time to be an investigator.
Stop. Everybody just stop. Listen, I have to rule on the case in front of me. And that means that I have to decide whether you have proven by a preponderance of the evidence that this man needs to shell out $5,000 to you because he's defamed you, which means that he said something that wasn't true and he knew it wasn't true. I can't do that on the evidence I have in front of me. I have no idea what happened that day, and it doesn't matter to me. I have to decide if you have proven by a preponderance of the evidence that he defamed you, which means he lied on purpose, which I can't find in this case. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant, and I wish you all luck.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
You need to get all your facts straight before you judge somebody.
Well, and I hope that you do well in your new community, and I hope you can be a good teacher without any more.
Judy Wilcox claims her judgmental father-in-law raided her fridge and threw away expensive food she needed for an event. Scott Wilcox says the seafood had spoiled, and he was afraid the party guests would get sick.
Miss Wilcox, You are suing your father-in-law, Mr. Wilcox, for $400 because he threw away your expensive seafood. Please tell me what's going on here.
Yes, Your Honor. I had an extravagant party that I was hosting for my son's school, and Mr. Wilcox here threw away all my seafood that I had in the refrigerator.
All right, let's back up a little bit and tell me about your relationship with your father-in-law.
I wish it could be better. However, it's not the best due to him not having any respect for me, for my household, for me as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. And
why do you think that is? What has he done that has made you feel that way?
It just feels like a very belittling relationship. He's always comparing me to his wife, who is no longer present with us. He's always, it seems to be, excluding me out of activities that he plans with my husband and our children. And I feel like he tries to ask me at the last minute just so that I don't have time to go, because he knows I'm busy, but he doesn't really want me there.
That's right. Not true. Have you ever talked to your husband about that?
Yeah, he said he didn't want to get in the middle of it.
Now, I understand that, but if he doesn't want to get in the middle, then he has to get in the middle. That's exactly what, when he has two people he loves that aren't getting along, then the way he stops that is by getting in the middle and getting everybody to come on the same page here. We're a family. All right, so go ahead. What happens? Give me an example of a time that you believe that he has, disrespected your parenting.
Well, he watches our kids pretty often. He just seems very judgmental of how the house is. He'll make comments like, "Oh, it just seems like no one's cleaning up around here. Son, what type of woman do you have?
Son, what type of woman do you have?
Yes.
In front of you?
Well,
and your husband says nothing?
The next room. He kind of says like, "Dad, come on, Dad," but he doesn't stand up to his dad because his dad is very toxic and stern and military background. So he's just always like trying to respect him. And
why don't you get another babysitter?
Because
it's really hard, right?
I mean, come on, I'm suing him for $400 seafood.
Okay, let's talk about that. So there was an incident before your party that you got very upset about. Tell me about that.
Well, I had come home one day, my husband and I, and my father-in-law was watching our son, and I walked in and he had spanked him.
Did you walk in on him spanking your son?
Well, I walked in and he was striking him.
Yeah, okay.
So that really upset me because I don't hit my children. I don't abuse them. I believe in gentle parenting. I believe in talking and talking things through. And he didn't, he had no regard to acknowledging that I was upset. He just took it up with my husband as if I wasn't even present, and that he didn't even care that I'm upset, and I'm sitting here telling my husband and my son and trying to console him. And at the end, I felt like it was just the worst and the wrong thing to do without my permission, because I don't raise my children that way.
So what'd you tell him?
I told him don't he ever put his hands on my children again, and I took my son and we just went into the next room.
All right, and then did you see each other after that, or there was like a chilly, hold on a second, I'll get to you in a moment, separation?
He's always there.
Okay, so
you would think he lives there.
All right, so then what happened? So you're setting up this party, and your husband and you decide that you're going to hire someone to clean the house.
Well, because I had told my husband that my seafood ticket was about $400, he was like, well, let's not hire a cleaner. And like I said, his dad has military background and he suffers from like PTSD, OCD or something. I don't know. He just has a cleaning problem. And he's like, let my father do it. And I'm like, well, I guess. And I went.
It's a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
In other words, you want boundaries, but then you also want. Here's a problem. Sometimes you got to call it. You got to decide what's better: free childcare and the grandfather always there, or you setting the boundaries down. If your husband won't, and I understand. I understand everybody, including your husband. So you decide, yeah, that'll be great. He's going to clean the house. And then you send him a text with instructions on what to do. Yes. And then you get to the house on the night of the party and you're ready to do, you had bought what? Like raw seafood that you were going to cook?
Coming up on Justice for the People.
But you hit him.
Hold on. I'm going to take care of this. I've been taking care of it for 30-something years without your assistance. So don't talk to him now because you're not in your living room. Now you're in my living room.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring this is Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Judy Wilcox, who blames her father-in-law, Scott Wilcox, for trashing her expensive seafood.
I have my evidence here. I have the text message, and then on my menu, I have salmon cutlets, caviar and crackers, cocktail shrimp, baked brie and bread, prosciutto, and salami.
All right, and according to you, you came home, and what was missing?
All of it. I opened the refrigerator, and nothing's there.
And so?
And so I go into the room where he was finishing cleaning up, and I'm like, where's the seafood at? And he proceeds to say, oh, that seafood that smelled bad, it was raw. I wanted to make sure you didn't serve it to your guests. And
he threw it out?
He threw it away. And here I am. It's 6:30. My party starts at 8.
So what'd you do?
I ended up having to go buy food from the local deli, which I have the receipt here, and from one menu of caviar to a menu of deli finger sandwiches.
Mr. Wilcox,
yes,
what
ma'am.
happened here?
I just want to say that my daughter-in-law is just dramatic. She over-dramatizes everything. And I take offense to the word strike. A strike is like in baseball or a third strike in a criminal justice. This is not a strike if I spank my grandson on the bottom.
But
okay, but let me, hold on. Okay, now it's my turn. I'm going to take care of this. I've been taking care of it for 30-something years without your assistance. So don't talk to him now because you're not in your living room. Now you're in my living room. All right.
Yes,
I have a question for you.
Yes,
Do you go around spanking everybody's kid?
No, this is a moment.
This is not your listen, you're a grandparent. You don't have the right to do something that the parents have not given you the right to do.
But this was in a situation where in the future it could have caused a bigger problem
Okay,
for
you're
my
trying
grandson.
to persuade me, and you're never going to, that spanking is a good form of punishment. I don't begrudge you, and the law doesn't begrudge you the opportunity for you to discipline your children unless it is tantamount to child abuse, all right, which is illegal. I am telling you right now, you don't have any rights when it comes to your grandkids for you to decide how it is that you're going to discipline them. What is it he had done?
He was going, pretty berserk and wild in the house, throwing things about. And when I went to grab at him, he bit my hand. So it was just an instance where I wanted to teach my grandson.
Yeah, I understand, but it's not your. Do you understand now that it's not your prerogative to decide whether to do that?
It may not, but however,
and he's only
we are built,
ma'am.
We're built on rules and discipline, and this is the reason why we're successful in this country.
This is not your child.
Fair enough.
Don't do that again. What did your son tell you when that happened?
He didn't say much.
Did your son tell you, Dad, don't do that?
Well, he knows that I'm not a overly violent person. I
don't care how hard you hit him. If the parents don't, if one of the two parents doesn't want you hitting him, you don't hit. It's not yours to decide. Okay?
Yes.
So you come over to clean.
Yes.
And you went above and beyond and threw out food that she'd purchased for this event. So you had purchased it how long before?
The day before the party.
Day before. So why?
However, when she did give me instructions on cleaning up, I did clean up several rooms, kitchen, dining room. And as I go to the kitchen to clean off the counters, I smell the fish smell coming from the refrigerator.
Okay, why don't you ask rather than throwing it out?
Because it just smelled like it was spoiled. I've been around.
Right, why don't you ask and say, hey, this smells terrible. I don't think you should serve this.
I'm just used to taking charge. If I see something that needs to be done, I just take care of it.
She feels that you've been criticizing her skills, ability as a mother, as a wife, as a homemaker. Have you ever criticized her?
Yes, I have.
And what is it you've been criticizing?
Just on her long work hours, lack of attention with the children. She doesn't spend enough time with them, in my opinion.
Viewers asked, and now Judge Milian has the answer.
My neighbor built a fence that extends about 4 feet onto my property. Can I make him move it? Can I sue him to get it moved?
You can tear it down. It's on your property. I don't suggest that you do that.
But you have the right to.
You have the right to. But what you should do is alert them to, first of all, get a survey and make sure you're right. And see if there's a dueling surveys that have different information, but
which can happen.
Which can happen, and sometimes well, but I put it right where the other fence was. Well, that other fence was wrong 30 years ago.
Right.
So there should be a survey done, which costs a couple of $100, so people never do that. They go straight to small claims court, and and then neither side has the evidence they need to win. So you need to get a survey done, and then
and don't sit on your hands, because there is also a concept in the law called adverse possession.
That's right.
And it varies from state to state. They have different periods of time.
Right.
Where if you just kind of let it sit there.
And they can prove you knew about it on day 1, and now day 20, year 20 has passed.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, no, they have a right to keep it there. They have an easement there.
It becomes somebody else's land.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it magically becomes owned by somebody else.
Right, right.
And this is like this rule of adverse possession is a throwback to an earlier time in this country, really, where people would go out west and settle land and get on land and make it productive and create a farm and things like that in land that maybe belonged to somebody else but was just idle forever. And they came up with this idea that, oh, well, you're somehow improving it, and oh, now it's yours. It's been 21 years, okay, now it's yours. It's been 15 years, whatever it might be, now it's yours. But honestly, nowadays it seems kind of outdated.
It seems kind of outdated, doesn't it?
Yeah, very outdated. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
It's like being a squatter in a house.
Right.
You sit there long enough, it's going to be your house, really?
Coming up.
If you think she won't throw out bad fish, you talk to your son and say, son, you guys can't serve this. This stinks. But at some point, it's their party and not yours.
With Judge Milian. We're back with the case of Judy Wilcox, who blames her father-in-law, Scott Wilcox, for trashing her expensive seafood.
But here's the thing, you can't be an enabler and then complain about the behavior. If you feel like they need to get a realistic dose of what parenting is and you don't want to babysit every Friday, then just say, no, I've got plans this Friday. That's all you got to do.
Fair enough, yes.
Right, and if they're both working, they can afford, a babysitter. So, but I don't understand how you throw out stuff from someone else's refrigerator without consulting them.
I want to point out that I did not throw any baked brie bread or any prosciutto salami. It was only spoiled fish.
Okay, but why would you throw that out without saying, hey, that fish smells terrible, and letting them in their house throw it out if that's what they want to do?
Well, the first thing I thought about is food contamination, food poisoning, who she's serving the food to.
So it's not that you didn't think about it. You actually thought about it and said, oh, man, she's so silly. She's going to serve this poison food, so let me throw it out.
Exactly.
Okay, that's overstepping a boundary that you shouldn't overstep. If you think she won't throw out bad fish, you talk to your son and say, son, you guys can't serve this. This stinks. But at some point, it's their party and not yours.
Yeah, but my son rarely gets involved in any situation that she handles around the house.
I don't know. The more I get to know the two of you, the smarter I think your son is. I was giving him grief before, but now I'm not so sure.
He's toxic.
So I was
don't insult your father-in-law in the courtroom when there was no question posed to you, like I've explained before, okay?
Coming up.
Like if you were the cleaning lady and you took it upon yourself to clean out that refrigerator without permission and throw out something that was purchased the day before, that might be a problem.
Closed captioning.
And I want them to pay for the wrong. It's not about putting, ching ching, let the cash register ring, put me above where I was. If I make him pay for both, then you're in a better position than if he hadn't thrown out the fish, because then you'd have the food for free, right? Which you never anticipated doing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, yeah, he did you wrong. He did. Like if you were the cleaning lady and you took it upon yourself to clean out that refrigerator without permission and throw out something that was purchased the day before, that might be a problem. And you have a very overinflated sense of your role in there where, and it's kind of, you're letting him have it and your husband's letting him have it because you need him so much. To the point where he's cleaning the house. I mean, that's, figure it out. If you want him to be at length, then keep him more at length. If you want him to be all in the grill, then set the rules and make sure the rules don't get violated. I'll be honest with you. You could be a super hands-on, grandfather in this family and all involved in their stuff and just not throw away the food without permission. You see, like you could still be all around there. It doesn't have to be standoffish and just once a month, but darn, man, have a little respect. This is not your house.
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. This is Justice for the People with Judge Million.
I am going to rule in your favor, but in the amount that was thrown out. That would make you whole. $210.03, verdict for the plaintiff. This does not resolve the real problem. You guys have a problem. You have how many children?
2.
You love your children?
Yes.
You love your grandkids?
Yes, I do.
You have got to figure out what the rules are in the house, okay? And you've got to figure out what you've got to do so you can be able to get along with your father-in-law, because trust me, having a relationship with your father-in-law is so in your best interest and in the children's best interest. You know that because you have free child care of someone who you know loves them, right?
Yeah.
All right, so guys, take a moment in your private lives, the two of you, and figure out how to make it so that this family is a successful, happy, well-adjusted family with mutual respect. Got it? Okay. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Million has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $210.03.
Hello, chào mừng các bạn đã quay lại